Good. All right, good morning, everyone. Going to get started today with Committee of the Whole. Commissioners, just a couple things on the agenda. Just want to remind you we have a special briefing today at 11 a.m. on the Parks Millage update, and then we have Economic Development Team at 12:30. Wow, good morning. I think I liked it better with those off. Thanks, John.
Good thing I didn't see that.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. All right, so let's get started. We have 8 items on the agenda today, and we'll get started with the first one, which is a resolution to adopt our 2017 City Commission special briefing and public safety meeting schedules for next year.
So moved. Support.
All right. It's pretty straightforward. So I know a lot of feedback went into setting the schedules for next year. Again, just a reminder, if you're going to miss, just make sure you notify the clerk and notify me of that so that we can be aware of it. Any questions, comments? All right. And this will get posted so that people can get them on their schedules? Okay. Absolutely. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next that will take us to a resolution providing for the publication and setting a date for adoption of a proposed ordinance that will add to section 10.61 to chapter 181 of Title 10 of the City Code under general traffic regulations. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support. All right, Mr. Nairmore is here to tell us about this.
Good morning. Thank you. So this is a resolution to set a hearing to actually adopt a proposed ordinance to the city's traffic regulations. So just to give you a brief overview and a little bit of a background. So the city is experiencing a lot of increased growth and demands for parking. And traditionally on these on-street areas, the city would install parking meters. However, parking meters come with a capital cost of about $500 per meter, as well as additional maintenance costs for collection, as well as costs for enforcement. So the city really tries to prioritize where we can invest these resources to maintain for cost recovery. But also we're experiencing that there are a number of these transitional areas where aren't necessarily appropriate and have the high level of demand to necessitate the investment in on-street metering, but would really benefit from parking management to help manage and facilitate turnover and utilization of the existing resources. So city staff is requesting to create and establish an electronic payment method zone within the city to meet the growing on-street parking demand, but also to establish these areas where we would be able to regulate the on-street without investing in parking meters. So as included in your packet is some examples of some of the signage. So essentially what we're proposing to do is create park mobile parking only zones, which allow you to pay via the smartphone application, or you can call in and pay via calling via the toll-free number. So currently, the city's traffic code does not allow for us to do this because we can only provide enforcement where there is actually a traffic control device, like a parking meter. So essentially, this is to add and modify the existing language for us to be able to set these transitional zones. And included in your packet are the 3 areas that we are primarily targeting to test this out. The first of which is on North Ionia, basically from Michigan Street north. There's approximately 110 on-street spaces where there are not parking meters, but there are 28 parking meters. And on a daily basis, none of the 28 parking meters are being utilized, but all 110 of the on-street spaces are fully utilized. And we actually have a city-owned facility in this same area that is sitting vacant and not being used. So the idea is to help try to facilitate some of the turnover in the demand and to kind of transition, and this is an area that's in transition. Another area is Century Boulevard in Granville. We've been approached by a number of the businesses down there near where the antique shops are because they want to facilitate some turnover there because they have some encroachment from people for founders, employees, and other areas. And then also Scribner Avenue north of Bridge Street. So those are the 3 areas of the city in which we would like to deploy this in the first round. So as I mentioned, this is just to have an ordinance adoption at a future meeting. So any questions?
All right. Questions, commissioners? Commissioner?
Yeah, just one, Josh. I understand that the actual cost of infrastructure doesn't make sense for the meter, but is there how much would like a pay station cost? 'Cause I'm just thinking about some people might have trouble downloading the app or don't know what it is, but they have a card with them, or they're just trying to get in and out quick. And if people are visiting the city that might not know about the app.
So that's a great question, and we are going to evaluate that. The current pay stations that we're in the process that we're working through and finalizing the bid, they average between $7,000 and $9,000 per pay station. So they're actually much more costly in the near term, but in the longer term, they do have a higher return on investment and they do lower costs. So the idea is that these are areas where we would actually test out and see what the true demand is and the need for the turnover, and then if they did meet a certain threshold, we could go back and install either a pay station or single space meters in these areas.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thanks, Josh. Other comments? Commissioner Kelly, you serve on our Parking Commission. You want to add anything?
Well, I just think that this is a good way to test this out. I live close to one of those areas that you cited and drive by it every day and see that for a long time there wasn't anybody parking there, but gradually we're getting more folks there. And I like the idea that we're doing it for a low cost so that we can test it out.
Yeah. Any other comments? Well, I will add my thanks to you, Josh, for all your work. I feel like every time I meet with a group, they're asking me about parking, and I refer them to you. So thank you for your work. Appreciate it. All right. I'll call the question on this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, Commissioners, that will take us to our next item today, and this is a resolution approving a contract